It is an important moment. Many people have high expectations for what you can deliver. Talk to me about how important this moment is.
Well, state-centered economy led us to political corruption and economic stagnation. Public expenditures rise from 18-20% in the last 4 decades. They reached 45% of GDP. So we are prisoners of a low-growth trap, lots of corruption, excess public spending, and it's a moment of changing the axis. We are going in the direction of a market-driven economy. We're going to privatize public companies. We are going to open the economy to reduce and simplify taxes. And we'll take advantage, probably, because we are out of sync with the global economy.
There are some optics going on here that I want to dig into a little bit, and then we'll get to the substance. When you ask people why they were looking forward to President Bolsonaro coming into power, they said it was his economic agenda. But actually, you dig a little bit deeper, it was your economic agenda they were buying into. I think there's some key man risk here. How committed are you to what is about to happen in Brazil? How long will you be around for?
Well, I've been committed to opening the economy, privatizing, and integrating it to the global economy for more than 30 years, 40 years. I feel like we are 40 years late in this agenda of liberalization. But we, in the financial circles, think that Bolsonaro was elected because of the economic agenda. This is a misperception, a complete misperception. What happened in Brazil was a political alliance of conservatives at the center and liberals at center and the right.
Yeah.
After 30 years of social democrat dominance, it's like you have 30 years of Democrats in the US. Any Republican would win the next election. Or you had 30 years of Labour in the UK. Any conservative would win the next election. So you were seeing a very vibrant democracy at work. There was never a risk like the losers in the Brazilian election were trying to convey to international opinion, like, well, Brazil is at risk, it could be closed politically. This is a misperception, a complete misperception.
Well, let's talk about the substance. What can you get done? The optics are better, fine. The financial markets has bought into your idea. What can you get done in the next 12 months?
Well, next 30 to 60 days we are going to send to the Congress, because we don't want to jam the Congress with 3, 4, 5 simultaneous reforms.
What's the priority? Number one?
Number one is Social Security reform. It goes, expenditures in Social Security go up $13, $14 billion a year. It's a snowball hole, big fiscal hole. So the first thing has to be addressed is the Social Security reform. We have a very obsolete pay-as-you-go financing system. Brazil is already going out of gas with this system before the population got aged. We have less than 11% of the population retiring, and we already broke the system. So we need to fix the old system and launch a new one in transition to a capitalization rate.
So that's priority number one. I believe you've got a budget deficit around 7.5% of GDP. Your goal is to eliminate that. How quickly can you get that down?
More than half of that will go out just with the Social Security reform. We also have lots of concessions in oil. The other half of it will go out this year with concessions of oil. We have a huge pipeline of privatizations. So in terms of cash, we'll zero the budget this year. But of course, it's not a recurrent.
You think you can get the budget deficit down to zero this year?
We'll get it. We'll get it. At least we'll go like the private companies work, with big, bold targets.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You think you can get the budget deficit down to zero this year. You're talking about an aggressive pipeline of nationalizations becoming privatizations. You take the national companies, you privatize them. How aggressive can you be? How much money can you raise from privatizations this year?
Well, we think that this year we could, with selling some state companies as subsidiaries of 2 or 3 critical, great companies, they would raise cash and they would pay back the central government. Some public banks and some state companies have borrowed money from the union. The union has lent this money and we want this money back. So in terms of cash, we will zero the deficit this year, but not on a permanent basis, because the permanent basis requires the structural reforms like the Social Security.
Help me understand
and so
that a
on.
little bit clearly. You want to leverage the balance sheet of these state companies.
Deleverage. We will deleverage the balance sheet of some
of the state companies.
of some public, some state banks that
But for
were
the state companies
leveraged.
specifically, are they going to be
Well,
sold?
I'll say BNDES has borrowed like 500 billion reales, which is around $200 billion of the union. And we want to deleverage that. As a matter of fact, President Dilma was ousted. She suffered the impeachment exactly on fiscal irresponsibility grounds because she leveraged the state banks.
Before we go over the old politics, you know, we could be here forever. I really want to understand with you the privatizations and how much money you can actually raise, because it's still not clear to me. You're going to be very aggressive, I understand that, but can we put a number on how much you can raise in the next 12 months from privatizations?
I would say that at least $20 billion.
$20 billion?
Yeah.
And you think that's going to take a dent out of the budget deficit?
Well, this would be around half of it, more than half of it, for instance, on a cash basis.
And a final question on the subsidies. Phasing out the subsidies is a big concern at the moment around that. Can you be a little clearer as to what you want to do with the subsidies?
Subsidies today are around $100 billion, subsidies. So if we cut 10% of it, is already another $30 billion, another $10 billion.
And you want to do that this year too?
Well, we'll do it. The thing is, most urgent things are structural reform. So we start talking about cutting subsidies here and there.
Yeah.
I lose political support to make the most important reform, which is exactly the Social Security. So why to engage in small battles
if
I have a big battle ahead?